Welcome back, fight fans. We were gone for a minute, but we're here for the rematch that nobody was waiting for. Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas 2. Before we get into that, we just crossed 100 subscribers, so I just wanted to express a huge thank you to each and every single one of you who has been here, who tuned into my videos, left likes, even gone as far as subscribing to make up the 100 subs. It really means the world to me that you guys do that, and I am even more motivated now more than ever to keep giving you guys content that you enjoy. So I'm going to keep trying to improve the quality of my content, and I am very open to feedback. So if you have any video ideas, ways in which I could improve, be sure to leave it in the comments down below at any point in time. Now let's get into the picks. First fight of the card and first fight of the year, we got Solecki stepping in on short notice to face Nurullo Aliev. It takes some balls to do so because Aliev is a really solid looking undefeated prospect. Solecki is very basic when it comes to stand up. Don't expect anything fancy with him whatsoever. You're not going to be like, oh my god, what was that? Did he invent that move? It's going to be something more like, oh, he landed a jab. Cool. But he just tries to do enough in the stand up to close the distance, get in a clinch position, and try to take his opponent down to the ground where he shines as best as he can. The problem you're going up against Nurullo Aliev, who is relentless with takedowns. He is not a really good finisher, but he is most likely going to get the fight down to the ground and do enough to win rounds. Definitely one to avoid placing your money on because the odds are clearly not worth it, because I see it going Aliev's way by decision. His wrestling is going to pose too much of a threat. He's hard to finish, and Solecki is too welcoming of being on his back. That don't look too good on the judges' scorecards. Now on to the first WMMA fight of the year. We have in the strawweight division between Victoria Dudakova and Fatima Kline. Fatima fights at both the strawweight division and the flyweight division in her career. She's most likely going to be the bigger fighter in this one. Dudakova has a heavy wrestling-based style with very basic striking. Her strikes are used to close the distance, get into a clinch, and take the fight down, where she will try to work her way to a dominant position and get a submission. Fatima Kline's striking is where she shines the most. She is smooth, technical, and poised. She's got clean hands, good footwork, and the ability to control distance that keep her opponents on the outside. Kline doesn't really rush when it comes to throwing punches. Instead, she more picks her shots with precision, landing with purpose. Her striking isn't flashy, but it's sharp and it's effective. She also has good head movement and defensive awareness, so it's not very easy to hit her cleanly. Unlike the last fight showed, she actually has good takedown defense. Hard to show that when you're fighting someone with the wrestling abilities of Jasmine Jazz the Vicious. I think Kline should be able to show her takedown defense in this one, keep the fight standing, or be able to work her way back up to the feet, making it a striking battle and do enough to win rounds and get the nod on the judges' scorecards. Dudakova is a takedown or bust kind of fighter, and she may also have cardio issues in this fight if it's dragged on to the later rounds, so I gotta go with Fatima Kline. Now on to the light heavyweight fight between Magomed Gadzhiyasulov and Bruno Lopes. Gadzhiyasulov is a fairly well-rounded fighter, but I expect him to implement a fairly wrestling-heavy game plan. Matched up against Bruno Lopes, who wants to keep the fight standing and get a finish that way. But I got Magomed on this one. Bruno gets clipped a lot, so even if the fight stays standing, he can still get caught. His striking style is very aggressive as well, so when he gets wild, he opens himself up to either getting clipped or taken down. And if he gets taken down, Magomed can grind out a victory that way. Next up, we got another WMMA fight between Ernesta Kareckaite and Nicolle Caliari. Kareckaite is a fairly well-rounded fighter who mixes up both the striking and the grappling in her approach, though she's especially dangerous when the fight hits the ground. Nicolle is mainly a grappler with the striking that leaves a lot to be desired. She would try to push the fight to the fence, get into a clinch situation, and try to get the fight down to the ground. But I see the fight going to the more well-rounded Ernesta. I actually think Ernesta would use good timing to land takedowns and control the fight to get the win. On to another grapple-heavy fight, but this one is really different to the others. Preston Parsons versus Jacobe Smith. Preston Parsons is a grappler with not that good stand-up, but in terms of submission, the dude is talented. But it's not gonna matter coming up against his short-notice replacement opponent in Jacobe Smith. Jacobe Smith is a killer. He is actually my first bet of the card and of the year. I got him parlayed to win in under 2.5 rounds. This dude just gets takedowns and try to ground and pound your head into the canvas. Even if you manage to work your way back up to the feet, he's gonna spill you back to the floor and continue his onslaught. I don't think Parsons is gonna be durable to take that for very long, and I don't think Jacobe will be caught in a submission either, so I'm putting this as my first bet of the year. Next up, we're going to the lightweight division, where we have Thiago Moises set to face off against Trey Ogden. Ogden is a wrestle-heavy fighter who will go for submissions and try to maintain control. Thiago Moises is a better striker, is hard to take down, and hard to keep down. But I got a bet on the underdog here. I think Ogden can shock the world. He is almost a 3-1 underdog, but he is so relentless. I think he can manage to get takedowns and control Moises. If not, we're basically going to be burning our money here because his striking is not as good. But if he gets a takedown, he's basically an ATM. It's worth a shot for me. But to make the value even sweeter, I got Ogden winning, parlayed with over 2.5 rounds. He's most likely not going to be able to submit Moises. Moises is not a guy who gets submitted within 3 rounds. He got submitted once in his MMA career, and that was against Islam Makhachev. But that fight went to 4 rounds. Trey is not going to be able to do that in less time. So, Trey Ogden to win over 2.5 rounds. Next up, we got a 185-pound fight. And boy, is the UFC having a problem with Ihor Potieria since he finished Shogun. Or so it would seem, but he's facing off against prospects. If he can't beat these guys, then he's not really UFC level, unfortunately. He's matched up against Marco Tulio, and it's a layup for Marco stylistically. He's got the ability to put Potieria out. But there's no bet going to be placed on this one because the odds are not that good. Next up, we got a flyweight fight between Jose Johnson and Felipe Bunes. Johnson is long as hell and big as hell. And it's astounding that he is able to make weight at this division. He is predominantly a striker. Bunes is more well-rounded, but his strengths lie within grappling. Johnson struggles to avoid being taken down, and Bunes is a decent fighter when it comes to mixing it up. I'm placing a bet on Bunes to get the job done because he can mix it up well, and if the fight goes to the ground, he can very well get a submission. Next up, we go to the welterweight division, and this is gonna be an easy one. We have Uros Medish set to face off against Punahele Soriano. And this is gonna be a layup for Uros Medish. Mark my words, the doctor is a finisher, and has the ability to finish a fighter such as Soriano. Soriano's path to victory is taking the fight down to the ground, which he is going to have problems doing. Then he's going to be forced to stand up with Medic and get put down. He's not going to last in a striking battle, especially with the cardio issues that he's got. The bet is Uros Medic to win inside the distance. Uros winning this fight is one of the most confident plays on the entire card. I am not worried about him winning. I'm more concerned about his method of victory. He could win by decision or he could win by knockout. Next up, we go to the featherweight division, and we got a fight between Austin Bashi and Christian Rodriguez. And boy, have I been wrong in predicting all of Rodriguez's fights. But I think Austin has got this one. He's a really slick grappler with better striking than Rodriguez. The pick is Bashi to win, but I'm staying away from putting my money on it. I've been learning, guys. Next up, we got a fight that can either be a barn burner or a really low output boring fight between middleweight strikers. Chris Curtis set the face off against Roman Kopylov. Stay away from it with your money, guys, because Chris Curtis is low output and Kopylov is a pretty good striker. Could go anyway. I picked Kopylov to win based on volume alone, but Chris has the ability to put him away, which is why I stress the fact to keep your money in your pocket for this one. Next up, we got another middleweight striking bout, and this one's going to be real different. It's between Abdul Al-Razak Al-Hassan and Cesar Almeida. Al-Hassan, he is a powerful striker, but he tends to be very, very reckless. And that's the issue right there. He's facing off against a very experienced kickboxer in Cesar Almeida, who's very, very durable as well. You go rushing in with reckless abandon, and you better hope one of those shots land, otherwise it's lights out. I got a bet on Almeida winning by KO. I think he picks his shots wisely and snipes Al-Hassan into the Shadow Realm. The only path to victory I see for Al-Hassan, besides landing a Hail Mary kind of shot, is taking the fight down to the ground and controlling Cesar Almeida. Similar to what Kopylov had to do, but I don't think Hassan is going to be taking that route. I don't think he's got it in his playbook. And now on to the co-main event of the evening. We have Santiago Ponzinibbio set to face off against Carlston Harris. How is this the co-main? I have no idea whatsoever. In fights against guys without that one-punch KO power, for the most part, he's gotten the job done. For me, Carlston is not on the same level in terms of stand-up and doesn't have the power to make a huge difference in the fight. The biggest concern is him sneaking in a submission, but good luck doing that against Ponzi. He's never been subbed in his UFC or MMA career. The pick is Ponzinibbio to win, but stay away from putting your money on this one. Now on to the main event of the evening that we never really asked for. I can't remember anyone saying, put Mackenzie Dern against Amanda Ribas. She's really grown, so I think she can avenge that loss. She's not. She's not going to be able to do this. This one goes no different, guys. The first fight was a 3-rounder where Ribas dominated Dern from start to finish. I'm putting a bet on Ribas to win and land more significant strikes. Ribas is not afraid of Dern in any aspect of fighting. Not in the striking and even in the grappling. Even if Mackenzie Dern pulls guard, Ribas is going to dive into that with reckless abandon. Ribas will easily outland Dern, and even if she finds herself in the guard of Mackenzie, she's going to be able to fend off the submission attempts like she did in the first round. It's going to be a very lopsided fight, guys. If Dern wins, it's going to be a surprise for me. And this has been my predictions for UFC Fight Night. Dern versus Ribas 2. Be sure to leave a like. Let me know what you think about the plays in the comments down below. Subscribe, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Twitter, support the channel on the Patreon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, game time.